August 13, 2016, Day 7. Alright, so I'm here in Herat. Finally, I got here last night and I was able to meet Saeed.
Yes.
Yeah, at the airport, at baggage claim. And then we took a taxi together into town and I met up with my host, which was Haitham. But he can't host, so I went back to Saeed's place.
I told you before that my house is your house.
Yeah, thanks so much. You actually live here, right?
Yes.
And what was the reason you were in Kabul?
It was a training for 1 week. I was in Kabul, and when I came to Herat, I found you.
Yeah.
a good friend.
Yeah, it's nice.
Best friend, like as my brother.
Yeah, so I'm able to
Yes.
visit your city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will visit my city, and you will enjoy from my city.
So now where do we go?
And now we are going to the bank.
Okay.
If we go,
This is another shortcut?
yes, another shop.
Oh, okay. I met up with Haitham and he would show me around the city on his motorcycle. Our first stop would be the Masala Minarets of Herat. The Masala Minarets were 5 huge minarets that resembled factory chimneys. This was one of the most important places to visit when coming to Herat. This complex was built by Queen Gahar Shad in 1417. Originally, this Masala complex had 20 fully intact minarets up until 1885 when there was a battle and a few of the minarets were destroyed. Here was Queen Gahar Shad's mausoleum. Here, some locals were also observing the minarets. Just like in Italy. This minaret is like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but instead it's the Leaning Minaret of Herat. The Leaning Minaret of Herat. Oh, if only Afghanistan became as famous for tourism as Italy. After the minarets, the next important thing to visit was the Citadel. Herat was the 3rd largest city in Afghanistan, and most tourists came to visit this city as it was considered safe. I definitely felt safe in this city and felt people were welcoming. It was also on the border with Iran, so if you were visiting Iran, you could easily hop over the border to visit an Afghan city while in the area. Of course, once we reached the Citadel, this taxi decided to race us and block our view. Can we slow down so there's cars not in front of us? This citadel dates back to 330 BC when Alexander the Great arrived to this region. Many empires have used the citadel as their headquarters in the last 2,000 years. Recently, it has been completely renovated from 2006 to 2011 by funds from the US and Germany. We're here at this park. What's the name of the park?
Park Taraki.
And what's the famous thing about it?
It's one of the biggest in
one of-
Afghanistan.
The biggest one in Afghanistan?
Yes.
Oh wow. So I got to visit it. Every city is proud of their football stadium, so Haitham stopped by to show me the football stadium of Herat. Okay, so nice fake grass here. When did they renovate it?
I think a couple of months ago, it was part of the Goal Project. The Goal Project was implemented by FIFA. They gave some money and funds to Afghanistan to build some, stadiums.
This drink called Happy, is it an Afghan drink?
Yeah, it's a local energy drink.
Okay. Back on the motorcycle, we continued our drive around the city. If I could visit most of the sites in the morning, I would try to catch the noon flight back to Kabul. Lastly, we went to visit the Grand Mosque, which was completed in 1446. I'm here at Herat. It's the Grand Mosque. It's a really famous area for people to hang out at. It's like a park too, but the mosque is behind me, and it's pretty famous and pretty ancient too. Right outside the grounds of the mosque was a sidewalk market, where you could find all types of clothing for sale. As I walked along the sidewalk, I observed the way people dressed around here. After a full morning of sightseeing, it was only 10:30 a.m. and I decided to try to catch the noon flight back to Kabul, since I preferred arriving during daylight hours than at night. I would stop by a travel agency to buy my ticket and then take a taxi quickly back to the airport. Once I reached outside the airport, I proceeded to hitchhike with this guy in his car to reach the interior of the airport grounds. With a ticket in hand for the 12:10 p.m. flight, I was ready to go. Here was the domestic departure terminal, and we would have to walk on the tarmac to get to our aircraft. No airport was complete without the picture of the current president, Ashraf Ghani, and his chief executive, Abdullah, whose nickname was Double Abdullah. This was Ariana Afghan Airlines, established in 1955, one of Afghanistan's oldest airlines.
اضطراری بالای دروازه‌های خروجی و چراغ‌های روی فرش طیاره به صورت اتومات روشن شده و شما را به نزدیکترین
Finally, I was leaving Herat. The geography of Afghanistan was really interesting. It was arid but had rivers. They had agricultural lands. Wherever a river was, they set up farms next to it. As it was a short flight, for snacks they served boxed juice and water. Looking outside the window on approach into Kabul, I saw the outline of new housing development projects. Kabul was a growing city. The flight took us 1 hour and 3 minutes to return to Kabul. Ariana Afghan Airlines was my 117th airline to fly on. Thanks for another safe flight. The Afghan melons were so popular that some passengers even took them as carry-on to give as gifts. Another interesting thing I saw at the airport was when the workers were restocking an ATM with stacks of money. It sure took a lot of time to stock this ATM. I wanted to leave back home the same day, but I had problems booking my flight, so I took a taxi into town to meet Wahab, who worked at an English school in Kabul. I'm Jason, your name?
I'm Wahab.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Jason.
So we came to this Iranian restaurant. What's the name of it?
Naradah Kebab. It's difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult for me. How long have you been living in Kabul?
I was born here, though.
Oh, so you lived here your whole life?
Yeah.
That's nice. What's your job here?
I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business.
Yeah.
And I'm also the first life coach in Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And who was your mentor? How did you learn?
I was coached by Tony Robbins. Robbins guy.
Yeah.
I was the first Afghan who was coached by this guy.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty amazing. He changed my life. And now I'm myself working on a life development system for the world.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can publish it in the United States.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
It was a nice meal then. I enjoyed the food. What was the name of it?
It's an Iranian food. Yours called zarish palau, and mine was korma sabzi. It was somehow similar, but mine has meat.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, nice meeting you. And,
Nice to meet you too. Very much welcome.
Back at his school, I attended one of his English discussion groups. After the class was finished, Wahab's two friends came over. Right now we're having a melon feast.
A melon party.
Wow, so that's nice.
Yummy. Kind of.
Instead of alcohol party, we have a melon party.
It's Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And it's the delicious.
It's more tastier than drink.
And this concluded day 7. Stay tuned for day 8 when I attempt to leave Kabul but realize both flights are oversold and I would stay an extra day in Kabul and finally depart the country on my 9th day.